Hey, what's up guys? So I'm finally coming out with the E-Hero deck that a lot of you guys have been requesting me to make. So if I was playing like an E-Hero and I did want to play Mass Change, this is how I would run it because most of these cards were reprinted, like Shining, and we also have like Acid now. So yeah, so this is going to be the deck profile for a lot of deck that people can run because of all the reprints. I know that some people might not have maxis, so I put a whole bunch of stuff in the side deck that you can choose to run over some of the cards if you don't like some of the cards or maybe you don't have them. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're playing 3 maxi, 2 Valor. I feel like you can just play 2 Valor. Generally, I like to play 3-3 when E-Hero just because you know, you need to be able to stop. It's kind of like a deck where you need to control the field, and you can control it quite well with stuff like Gemini Spark and Hero Blast. But I felt like Effect Valor is really great against Insectors, and Gemini Spark and Hero Blast are great against Insector as well. So, you know, you have a pretty good matchup, I'd say, against Insectors, as long as you have either one of those set or maybe a Valor in hand. So, yeah. Next up, we're playing 3 Alias, just because it really helps with the consistency of, you know, the Gemini Spark, because that is quite a great card. Also, Hero Blast is another amazing card, but you know, sometimes that card can be dead. Next up, we're playing 1 E-Hero Ocean, just because it is 1 water target, plus you can use Mass Change with it. As well as it's quite great for the effect. Like a great play is to have Alias in Graveyard, and if you have Ocean on the field and your opponent has no monsters that can attack over it, if they summon anything, you just Hero Blast, you get to add the Alias. Next turn, you get to add Stratos back to your hand, and you can make something like maybe Blade Armor Ninja, which would be a great card to make. And yeah, you can potentially push for a lot. And on top of that, you know, you're already getting a plus off of Ocean, then you get a plus off Stratos. Pretty good stuff. And then we're playing Gores as another monster, and he's quite good. I mean, even though you have a lot of back row, at sometimes I just feel like Gores is just really important to have, just because he does prevent OTKs. Then for the last monster, we're playing a Snowman Eater in the main deck, just because it's overall pretty solid, and E-Heroes are pretty popular, so this is a great card against the mirror match, just because nothing really runs over it, and you know, it's also a level 3, so the off chance that you need to use like a Valor, and you can make something, maybe if you have like a card on the field, yeah, you could possibly synchro up to make something, but generally you don't really synchro with it. There's no other level 3 that I'm running in this variant, so you can't really like, exceed with it. But yeah, it's optional for some decks perhaps, or if you want to run something that's level 3. Next up, we're playing Dark Hole, 3 E-Call, and the Reinforcement of the Army. So yeah, you basically always get Stratos first turn, and getting that extra Alias to your hand is just, it really does help out. And you can also use these to deck them before activating Duality, because Future Fusion is one of my favorite cards in this deck, actually, and I'm surprised some decks didn't run Future Fusion, because it's so great. I mean, you have your Hero Blast that you can use, like, basically second turn, well, on your opponent's turn, essentially, because when you go Future Fusion, send, like, an Alias and maybe, like, an Ocean, you have that Hero Blast, which is just so much better to be able to activate it really soon. So yeah, I feel like you know, Future Fusion is great, and plus it's Future Fusion, it's a great card. And then next up, we're playing 3 Spark. I mean, you have 3 targets. Plus, you know, I mean, technically you could potentially you have 5 targets if you use Hero Blast twice. You can add back Alias. But yeah, I feel like 3 is just too good, because like I'm only playing 1 MST in this deck, and I feel like this deck can really rely on, like, if it doesn't matter if your opponent, like, you know, warnings, you have ability to use Miracle Fusion to get out more monsters, so it's not like you really need to like space things. And like Skill Drain doesn't hurt this deck. I mean, I can't really think of anything that would hurt this deck. Maybe Snowman Eaters, that's really about it. But I mean, obviously you can get big monsters out after Snowman's flipped, but I feel like Snowman Eater is such a great card against this deck, and it's kind of funny that it actually works quite well, because you know, Snowman Eater stops the Thunder Kings. Because some people do like to main deck Thunder Kings in like E-Heroes, but you know, it's not a bad idea. I've also put it in the side here, so if you are thinking about playing it, you can play it with some of those cards in the side at the bottom. So next up, we were at the Gemini Sparks. Okay, so we're at Heavy Storm, and no explanation for that. 3 Miracle Fusions. Even though you're running 3 Duality, I feel like this card's overall too great not to run, just because you can Miracle, they can Warning, and you don't have to remove. Removing is not a cost, keep that in mind, and then you can just be like, okay, Miracle Fusion again. It's